Alright, this is Ordinary Madness, episode 59. I'm Steve Barker, and with me today is Seattle rapper Ryan B Caraveo.
What's going on?
Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah, you did.
Cool, so it's good to talk to you. I probably only came across you about 2 weeks ago because of the Schlager video that's been going on, but it looks like you've been doing this for a while. So I'm kind of just curious how you got started in rapping and everything. And
Yeah.
because you're a pretty young guy, but it looks like you've been doing this for a couple of years.
I have. I started in 8th grade in middle school. My older brother really got me into hip hop in the era of MySpace, and started making me mixtapes, and then we would have rap battles on the microphone. When I was like 6, he would write me battles, and then we would just record them for fun. And then 8th grade is when I made my first album. Wrote up a little business plan for my parents. Said, hey, this is the money I need. I can pay you back after this many units. And it was cool. Did all the artwork, and then went through Guitar Center. It was cool, putting it all together and seeing what it takes at an early age. And then they helped me build a little studio in my room, and I recorded it all. And that's where I started. Put out an album then, and then throughout high school, I made a couple like mixtape tracks, putting stuff on YouTube. And then now I'm working on like my first official debut album. It's pretty much close to done, and I'm starting to release some singles and some music, giving some people some teasers off of it. So I'm really excited, but it's going to come out this summer.
Yeah. And then so those first albums, were you making your own beats, or was somebody helping you with that?
Other people would help me. A guy named Il Pill, he gave me a couple of beats, and I was featured on his project in middle school, which was really cool for him, giving me a little shout at such a young age. It was really cool of him. And but for the most part, I would find people either locally, and everyone went through a phase, I feel like, where you kind of jack beats off a SoundClick.
Oh yeah.
So I did that for a little while, but when I actually made the project, it was all original material that people pitched in. But I make beats for fun, but I never actually really put them on my own projects. Yeah.
But so you got like the whole sounds or recording studio in your house, and you talk to your parents. Like, it sounds like you were pretty smart about this at an early age. Like, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. When you talk to your parents, especially at an age like that, and there's like, what do you want to do? They want you to go to college, and I've always wanted to, do something with music. It's what, it's really fun. It's what I want to do, and so you can't just be like, hey, can I get some money? I'm trying to make some raps. You know what I mean? Right. You got to approach them in a professional way, and so they've always respected me, and they've always supported me in music and believed in it all because the way I went about it. So it's really cool to get their support.
All right. Yeah. Cool. So just to give the people that are listening to know what we're talking about, I'm just gonna play the first. So this is the first single off the new album.
Yes, this is going to be off the new album. It's called Schlager.
All right. Yeah. So I'll play that right now.
La 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 la. Caraveo. First name Ryan, middle name Bandito. Yeah, sent to me ho. I been had a stilo. Hand on the wheel, rolling like an armadillo. Front to the back, yeah, I got the place leaning, riding chatty in a Beamer, feeling like I'm Willie beaming. Money super loud, feeling like my Skrilla screaming. Yeah, they wet and wanting more, I guess I got 'em aquafina. So, pleased to meet ya, I'm the dealer of the dope. I proceed to serve it up, whether you feel it or you don't. What I do, get 'em hooked, then I reel 'em to the boat. You don't like it, you can suck it till you feel it in your throat. Black shades, looking flash, ain't cool. In class, they would say I never grasped all the rules. I turned in all my homework on the last day's due. Now I'm throwing up that paper like the last day of school. And we ain't really worried about a thing. Whatever's in my cup got me feeling like a king. I came in with my gang, now I'm standing on your stove. Drank so much Schlager that I'm coughing up gold. But we ain't really worried about a thing. Whatever's in my cup got me feeling like a king. I came in with my gang, now I'm standing on your stove. Drank so much Schlager that I'm coughing up gold. Now let them think, now let them look. Make them all wonder what happened to the hook. Now put your hands up when that bass drop, and I'ma let y'all know my name just in case y'all forgot. It go Caraveo. First name Ryan, middle name Bandito. Yeah. My flow frio, 10 degrees below. My stilo be colder than the Eskimos. Don't ask me though, cause I know it very well. Living like a fairy tale, in case you could barely tell. This beat's harder than me inside of a rare Chevelle, trying to spark a pair of L's while I park it parallel. Now put your fucking hands up in the air and yell. Now is not a time to give a care about your hair and nails. We rolling deep and you could even compare a Dale. I'm not a liar, man, I'm flyer than the parasail. Hell, we going stupid and dumb. Now feel that bass hit your shoes to the roof of your gums, and I'm already juiced. I mixed the goose with the rum. I'm seeing all these chicks double, I ain't choosing just one. And we ain't really worried about a thing. Whatever's in my cup got me feeling like a king. I came in with my gang, now I'm standing on your stove. Drank so much Schlager that I'm coughing up gold. But we ain't really worried about a thing. Whatever's in my cup got me feeling like a king. I came in with my gang, now I'm standing on your stove. Drank so much Schlager that I'm coughing up gold.
So yeah, so that was Schlager right there, and that was what really that's what turned me on to you. I think Speculation posted on his Facebook, and I was just like, "What is this? This is good." And like, total party song. I think might be the summer party song. So I'm just curious, like, is any of the song? Did it come from experience, or just you just wanted to write a party song about drinking Goldschlager?
A little bit of both. I actually don't drink a whole lot of Goldschlager. But I like them. Yeah, it's got gold in it, so it's official. Right. No, but it was a party song. I had fun writing it, and then kind of had parties with it afterwards. But yeah, shout out to Speculation for posting it. He's a really good guy. He linked me up with a lot of cool people. He gave me an opening spot up at one of his, I think it was his album release show. So yeah, shout out to him because he's really given me some cool opportunities. So definitely good looks from that dude.
Yeah, and so as far as the album's going, are you? Because I think I saw something that you're gonna release a song when Schlager has like 1,000 hits or something.
Yeah, that'll probably be today. I think it's like at 9:50 right now. So today I'm gonna announce it, and then a song called "Wallowing" off of the new album, produced by Keyboard Kid, is going to get released on the 14th, Monday. But yeah, we're announcing it probably today.
Right on. Yeah. So how many songs do you think you're going to release before the actual album
that's tough. I don't know, probably like five or six maybe. It's tough to say. I want to release them all. Right. I want everyone to check them out. I want everyone to feel them and vibe out to them. But probably like 5 or 6 before the actual album comes out. And then the album will feature anywhere from... it's a little shorter. Anywhere from like 9 to 12 tracks on the actual album. Close to an EP.
Yeah, well, and this seems like an interesting way to do it because, I'm from a generation where, you put the album out before, the internet and all that.
Definitely.
And so this seems like, a good way to do it. Was this like part of like the business plan to like...
Absolutely,
get everybody excited and then drop it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at this day and age, there's just so much music, and it's not a bad thing. There's so much music coming out. And so rapidly, everyone has access to their own visuals. It's so easy to download programs and make your videos. That I feel like releasing an album can generate the same attention span from people as releasing a song. You know what I mean? And so that's why I want to release a lot of the music before it comes out. Nicely spaced out to kind of keep that attention on it, so it's not just there and gone. Because it's hard. Everyone knows. Anyone making music knows it's hard to, to break out, make a little name for yourself. So yeah, definitely a part of the business plan. Yeah.
So when you first got into it, because just looking at your Facebook, I realized that I'm a couple years older than you, and so when you were born and when you were growing up, hip hop was already an established thing.
Right.
It was out there. So I'm curious, because you said you had an older brother.
Yeah.
Who got you into everything. So what type of stuff were you listening to when you were like 12, 13, when you were like, oh, I want to get into this?
Oh, man. It's a good question. I remember... Man, I don't even want to answer that. Answering honestly, I used to listen to Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. That was when I was really, really young. I don't know what grade I was in. Definitely in elementary school. And then I started listening to when I started listening to hip hop, my older brother turned me on to local Seattle hip hop, which is really cool. So when I got into hip hop, around, between like 6 and 10 is when it started really digesting it all.
Like 6 years old?
Yeah, between 6 and 10 years old. Yeah, it's when I really started like digesting it. And then can't remember the dates, but as my older brother started getting me into it, I listened to a lot of everyone on like Massline, like Gabriel Teodros, Kings, Blue Scholars, and listened to Common Market. And so my first hip hop show I ever went to, my older brother took me to, was the Massline launch party, which is really cool, and really getting into hip hop, all of the local dudes, I definitely look up to all of them, and they really got me into it. So I definitely listened to a lot of those, and then I moved around a lot when I was younger, from state to state, and then so I was like spreading their music around. Oh, Seattle hip hop, just burning CDs just because I wanted people to hear it.
Right.
Like, making my own mixes. I lived in Oregon for a little bit, lived in California, lived in Texas, and I would give everyone these CDs just so, it was dope music. So, yeah.
Yeah. So why were you moving around? Is like your dad military or anything like that?
Man, you're a smart guy.
Yeah. Well, I moved around a bunch too, but everybody asked me, "Oh, was your dad military?" But it was a different reason. But
yeah, my parents split up when I was really young, and my dad is in the military. So on Christmas breaks, Easter, summer vacation, I would come to Seattle. So this was always the destination. And then in the meantime, during the school year, I'm state to state, city to city, living with my dad because he got orders every so often. And then in 8th grade is when I permanently moved to Seattle, and then when I put out that first album too, under the moniker Lone One. That's what I used to go by.
If anybody wanted to hear that, is that on the internet anywhere?
Yeah. It probably is. I think Ill Pill still has a couple of those tracks, on YouTube, so you can probably check them out. I don't want you to, but you can probably check them out. Yeah, for sure.
Everybody starts,
Of course, like, yeah. And then you look back, it's like, oh man, I said that.
Right, but that's part of the
beauty
process.
of it.
And like I said, like especially when listening to that Schlager song, it's like, okay, it's catchy beat, it's a fun song, but you clearly can rhyme, and like you're a lyricist, which I think a lot of hip hop now is more a hook and a good beat where people aren't rapping as much, which is really what turned me on to your song, because I was just like, okay, this kid's got something.
Cool.
And the same with the Infinite song, which I'll play later. Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious, were you like a writer as a kid, or like you're a very good lyricist, and like do you know where that came from?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, growing up, again, my brother had a big influence on me, get me into it. And then in high school, definitely liked the writing classes more. And then there was a program called Youth Speak Seattle. And then there was a guy named Matt Gano, who's a really cool dude. And he came in my high school, did a little program where one period out of the week in my English class, they would bring Matt Gano and do kind of like a writing workshop, spoken word poetry. And then this is probably my freshman and sophomore year of high school. And then Matt kind of turned me on to going out, hey, come out to an event. And so, after hours, extracurricular type of stuff. And then went out there, and then there was like poetry slams and all this cool stuff, writing workshops. And I just had a lot of fun because I was surrounded with, talented writers who weren't rappers. You know what I mean? And so being around rappers is an awesome thing. They're, I love the genre. And then being around other people who aren't rappers is really cool too, because you pick on other, techniques, you pick up on other writing, and there's no ego involved usually. And so you can write from a different perspective. At least for me, it made it easier. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but yeah, Matt Gano played a big influence on that, and then kind of helped me grow into a better writer. And yeah, still growing, but he definitely played a big part.
Cool. Yeah. Matt Gano, he's a cool guy. He's a buddy of mine. Actually,
cool.
If you're listening, you want to go back into the archives somewhere around the 20s or something. Matt Gano's on there. He spit some poems. So were you part of the You Speak? Were you doing slam poetry, or were you just kind of a fan? And
I never actually participated in the slams. I was always too shy to do that. I was like, damn, these guys are good, like that's not my first and foremost. That's not what I normally do. And I should have. I wish I would have. It's like, oh, I wish I would have played more football in high school. You always look back and there's more you could have done. But yeah, those were all talented people. I helped out. Like when I could, I would set up, or I think a couple times I helped sell some shirts. And whenever I could, I was happy to help out because it was always for a good cause. And every single time they did an event, it was supporting something. Donating to somebody in need, and they always really helped out. And then they also worked really close with a venue called, I just remembered, called Hidmo. It was an Eritrean restaurant down in the Central District, I think. And that I did one of my first shows there through Youth Speaks. They kind of put it together. It was like 20 people, but made me feel like a rap star when I was younger. It was really cool. People came out. I saw my name on a flyer. It's always a cool experience.
How was some of those first shows? Because you mentioned that you were shy about the slam, but when you were actually rapping on stage, was that something that made you nervous, or was it like you were excited to finally get to share your words with people?
Yeah, but before, anytime I'm about to perform, I always get super nervous.
Right.
But as soon as I start performing, man, I just love it. I feel super at home. It's a lot of fun. It's there's nothing better than it. There was one time at Hidmo though, I was up on stage. They had the turntables and the corded mic, and I was performing. I was getting super into it, and then right before the hook, super excited, and then my foot just kicked the microphone out of the turntables. Like shit, felt hella shitty. Yeah. But no, it was cool. I mean, yeah, once I get on stage, it's all good.
Well, and it seems, as an outsider going to Seattle hip hop shows, it seems like the community is really supportive of everybody. It's like, sometimes in other communities writing, sometimes the community, it's like somebody gets big, everybody all of a sudden hates that person. Or talk shit about them. But it's like, it seems in hip hop, it's like, if one person makes it, we all make it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And do you feel that with,
Yeah, I do. I feel like everybody, anytime I hear anyone talking about any artist, not just rap, I mean, there's, dope painters, there's dope singers, it's always love. I never hear anybody talking bad about anybody, and I haven't really been mature enough to experience the music scene in any other city, so I can't really speak on what it's like in any other city. But Seattle, it's definitely always love. The people I know are always showing love, showing support, so it's really cool. Yeah.
And when the new album comes out, do you have a bunch of shows scheduled, or is that something you're gonna plan later? Or?
I'm currently lining some stuff up right now, getting as much good shows as I can. Well, shows really. I just want a chance to, if it's in front of 10 people, if it's a little pop up on the street, if it's a big event venue, I'm down to perform anywhere. Anytime anyone gets to listen and I get a chance to show people what I've been working on for hella longer than I should have took. I've been waiting a long time to release this music. So yeah, anytime I get a chance to share it with people, I'm happy to, and I'm glad to.
Yeah. Well, it's saying taking a while. You got to make sure it's good. You don't want to half-ass something and then put it out. And I think the way you're doing it with, dropping one song every once in a while, that seems that's the new business model, and that seems like a good way to do it. It's really thoughtful that you thought this through enough to okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So
of course,
with all this planning, do you have an ultimate goal, or is it just
Yeah. There's ultimate goals in mind. I mean, this is all leading up to the biggest single this summer, and then the album this summer, and then currently, right now, most of the music is made for the album, which is called Swings, coming out this summer. And so currently, right now, I'm listening to a lot of beats, writing a lot for the next album, because I have the opportunity to have this material ready to go for this first project. So I have the luxury of, time to work on the second one. So the end goal is always, whatever's next, so
right.
Shouldn't just be putting it out because it's, there's never enough. There's never enough to be done. So always working.
And what's that process like for you when you're writing? Do you put on a beat and then think, are you just rhyming in your head and then you already have something and then you put it to the beat? Is it in the studio?
Yeah, it's a really long process. I usually don't write in the studio because I pay for studio time, and I feel like that's a waste of money when people pay for the studio and then they smoke 3 blunts,
Yeah.
and then they write their raps, and then they booked a 4-hour session and record for 45 minutes.
Right.
But that works for some people. Me, I've tried that. I've smoked before. I don't really smoke, but I've smoked before and gone to the studio, and I just felt like shit. I was like, damn, I'm failing myself. You know what I mean? And so I like to go to the studio at like 9 in the morning before I've had any day to affect what I'm thinking at the studio, so it's all nice and fresh. But as far as writing goes, I usually like to get the beats and come up with a hook right away. If I get the beat and can't come up with a hook right away, 80% of the time I usually don't use the beat. Or sometimes I'll keep a beat and didn't come up with a hook and I'll use it, 6 months later. But my writing process is really long. A lot of rappers are like, I just banged out 10 tracks in a week, and I envy those people. I wish I could, because I'm always revising, you know what I mean? So it takes a little while for me to finish a song.
Right.
Yeah.
And then do you revise while you're recording, or is it like you're revising on the page and then you're going to do it? Or like will you record it, listen to it, and be like, oh, that line I could change to this?
Yeah, sometimes I do revise in the studio. I record up at Undercast, which a lot of artists do. And I've worked with both Randy, Elliot, and Teal. And all of those guys are really helpful in the studio. They've been very talented. They've been doing it for a long time. So they'll come up with something and say, hey, I don't know what you're saying. Because sometimes you listen to a rap record, and even now, some of my favorite songs, I don't know what they're saying unless I look up the lyrics sometimes. And, so they help, the technicalities of it, recording, making it sound better in the studio. So they definitely help with the revision process too.
Yeah. Well, and just to go back to, your lyrics, I find that as hip hop's progressed, I've become less interested in some of the more mainstream stuff because I don't know what the fuck they're saying, and when I do know what they're saying, they're not saying anything. They're just like talking about these gold necklaces they got or something, and it's like that stuff's cool, I guess, but it's just I'd like to hear something a little more, and even something like Schlager that is just a party song. It's fun, and you're like I understand every word, and the video too. People should check that out just because. It's got the lyrics going right across the screen,
falling and spinning. Yeah.
Did you have any involvement in that?
Yeah, I made the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, you made that video?
Yeah. Right. So, man, I worked like a week straight, just bell to bell. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I kind of taught myself how to do the typography stuff. YouTube can really teach you anything.
Well, I noticed
saved
that
a couple bucks.
You've directed a bunch of other people's videos too, right?
Yeah. I've started doing that. I got a funny story. I want to tell you a story first.
Yeah.
So I used to have like Windows Movie Maker, and in middle school, my parents got me this, like $100 little camcorder with a little 1-inch LCD display.
Right.
And me and my little brother at the time, who was probably like 7 or 8 years old, would always make like funny music videos and like remakes. And do you remember that song "Party Like a Rock Star" by the Shop Boys? Party like a rock, so we made a remix of that. Like I redid the video, and then the Shop Boys put it up on their MySpace, and they were buzzing at the time. So it got like 40,000 views like in a day. It was really cool. And then after that, I invested in a bigger camera, and I started doing that for fun. But I've kind of slowed down for that. I'm thinking about investing in like a nicer camera, just because I really enjoy it. I enjoy that just almost as much as love recording music. So yeah, I'm gonna get like a really nice camera soon, and it saves money too. It's a lot of money for videos. Yeah.
So the next single that you're releasing, is it gonna come with a video as well, or will it just be the song? Yeah,
Wallowing is going to have a full length video. It's the shortest song. It's probably like 2 minutes. It's just rapping my ass off. There's not a hook.
Nice.
Yeah. I always like doing that. Some people hate it, but I'm. Back to what you were saying, people who make music now, I honestly fuck with all of it. Excuse my language, I don't fucking cuss on here.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's all you want.
I fuck with all of it. I'll listen to Riff Raff and Lil Debbie, and then I'll go and listen to, some Nas. I'll listen to some, Blues Scholars still, even though they haven't made music. I'm excited to hear some new music from them. But across the board, I listen to everything. There's a time and a place for it all. For me, I like to go out and have fun. I like to think, so,
Yeah.
I mess with it all.
Yeah, speaking of Riff Raff, I never really checked that guy out, and I had Billy the Fridge on here a while ago, and he kept talking about Riff Raff, and I was like, really? Like, I've seen him, but I've never really heard him. Yeah. Then I started listening to him, like, this guy's fun, man.
Yeah, he is. It's undeniable. If you listen to Riff Raff and you watch, 10 of his music videos, and you're still not, like, smiling or having fun, like, you're making a conscious effort to not like it, I feel like, I'd love to kick it with that guy for a day or two.
Yeah, he's got this one song, Dolce & Gabbana.
Yeah.
Like, I just pulled that song off the internet a while ago. I've been listening to it nonstop.
Yeah, it's a dope video.
I used to be such a music snob back in the day, but it's just like, nah, man. If I'm having fun, who cares?
Of course. It's all about having fun.
I've noticed that too, because Infinite is more... of a personal song. It's the same thing. There's no hook on that, right?
Correct.
Just like
straight through. Mm-hmm.
And that's not on the new album, is it?
It is not. No, Infinite. That's off of the beat is off of like Eminem's. I think it was Eminem's first tape, and he has a song called Infinite. And so I just took that beat. Again, part of me like doesn't like listening back on songs like that because it kind of sounds like I'm one of those rappers like bashing the mainstream, which I'm totally not. I'm not one of those guys, Again, I'll listen to everything. There's a time and a place for it all. But, and I wrote that song, and there was, because I was, like, trying to get inspired, I was trying to, look up all these artists I used to listen to, and then they are making those songs, you know what I mean? The newer ones with just the, just the hook and, a dumb verse. And so I was like, and that's what kind of sparked me writing that song.
Yeah. Infinite was that was the like really first Eminem, right?
First Eminem. The one that you can't go to Best Buy and get.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I ever actually heard that one.
It's a dope song. It's a really dope song. It's one of my favorites.
I'll have to check that out. I heard like when he got big, because they'd only press like 500 copies, that like copies of that were going for like thousands of dollars.
Damn! I didn't know that. I believe it. That'd be fun to listen to Riff Raff and then listen to Infinite right after. We get a mind fuck.
So what was I gonna say?
How awesome these polka dots on my shirt are.
Yeah, you got a fresh style. Yeah, no, one thing I saw, because like usually when I have a guest on, they've got like a website and everything, so I've just been like Googling like you like crazy.
Cool.
See what I can come up, and I saw that you just got a lip tattoo.
Oh, I've had that. I got that. That was one of my first tattoos. I'll show you.
Damn, so I've always been curious, does that shit hurt, or is it just like any other tattoo?
Not at all. You literally, like, on the sides, I couldn't even feel the needle, and then when it gets to the middle where the line kind of comes up from your gums, that shit kind of hurt. But, I got that when I was, like, 16. It says, this is audio, so it says fresh, and there's a money sign for the S. I got it when I was 16. Damn. It's pretty cool. Yeah. They were like, it's gonna fade away in, like, 2 years, and you can get something else. I'm like, okay. It's been, like, 5 years. Still there.
16? You don't know they didn't ID you or anything?
I went to my friend's dad's house, but I went to one shop, which I will not mention because they hooked it up by tattooing me when I was underage, but they didn't card me. I walked in, I grew my beard out and then went in, and I already had tattoos, so then they didn't card me. So shout out to them. They know who they are.
Right on. So like, what do you have a day job right now, or how are you?
I do. I've always worked sales by my day job, until I'm making $1 million rapper money.
Right.
Yeah. Sales is a lot of fun because, I hang out, I meet people all day, and that's basically my job. Kind of like what you're doing right now, you know what I mean? Yeah. You just talk to people, get to know people, and then, hey, check this out. If they like it, it sticks. Which is kind of goes hand in hand with music, the business aspect of it. But yeah, that's the day job. Selling shit.
Nice. Well, you're selling yourself.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So as far as like people in Seattle, you've worked with a bunch of people. Is there anybody out there that you really admire, or somebody that you like would love to work with?
Yeah.
That you haven't yet?
Yeah, I would really like to work with a couple of people. I want to do a song with Raz. Me and Raz actually went to high school together, but I was a freshman when he was a senior, I think. We're kind of far apart. We're sophomore or something. So I didn't really get to know him too much in high school. But, I'd love to do a song with Raz, kind of like a more like melodic, slower song. Same thing with like Saul. Because, I really like those songs. Anything that you can kind of sing along to on the hook. And not just a dumbed down song with a hook, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sing-along value means a lot to me, except for when I'm just rapping my ass off for 4 minutes on a song. Right. But yeah, I'd like to do a song with one of those two guys. I could think of some other people, but
that new Raz's new album is one of my favorite albums that's come out in a while. I've been listening to that thing over and over again.
Fire. Yeah, he's doing his thing. That guy's a really, really sharp guy. We used to, meet up. We talk a little bit, chop game about music a while ago when I was kind of first in high school releasing those songs, and he's always been smart. He's always been scheming, always been plotting, and so it's no surprise to me that he just linked up with the deal he did with that 300 company, and I don't think that they just randomly hit Raz up, and I think a lot of people think that, but I know Raz put that together and he connected the dots and made shit happen. That guy's he's super ambitious, and he's a really good guy. Yeah.
And speaking of that Saul guy, he's somebody who came on my radar. Have you seen that documentary, The Outsiders?
The Other Side?
The Other Side.
I have. I haven't seen it in a minute. It came out a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then they started kind of promoting it not too long ago. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was on Vimeo. You could watch it for free a couple months ago. But that Saul guy, I'd never heard of him. And there's this one scene where he's just spitting and I was just I gotta check this guy out.
Yeah, Saul's been doing his thing for a long time. A long time too. Shit, since I was real young in high school. So these people that are kind of starting to bubble on a national level, it's really cool to see, and it's kind of satisfying to hear that you have to put that work in to do it, because it kind of filters some people out. You know what I mean? Right. And it's exciting for me because that's years of work I'm prepared to put in. You know what I mean? And so it makes it more concrete. Hey, this shit can actually happen. There's him. There's Mac, of course. There's a lot of people that put that work in and then reap the benefits of it. So it's cool to see.
Yeah. Well, and it looks like people are actually starting to look at Seattle as a hip hop city. Which
totally.
Maybe 5 years ago, I don't know if they did. Blue Scholars have been doing their thing, but I've always been wondering if because I moved here in 2004, and that's right when Blue Scholars had put out that first self-titled, which phenomenal album, still one of my favorite albums. But I was always curious if people outside of the Northwest were listening to this. And,
yeah, for sure. They're Blue Scholars. I've always listened to. They're super talented. But yeah, there's a lot of culture building up in Seattle. It's really cool to see, and any smart businessman would keep their ear to Seattle too. I mean, anybody who sees what Mac and Ryan Lewis are doing would keep some ears in Seattle. That. Because it's a money making opportunity for them. There's just so much talent bubbling. Again, not just rap. There's so much shit coming out of Seattle. It's really cool to see the city getting on. You know what I mean? A respectable city. Seahawks winning, the whole team, the whole city's winning. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. And one common question throughout that documentary was, does Seattle hip hop have a sound? And I posed this question to speculation, and me and my friends have been talking about it as well. And I'm just curious if you have do you think there's a sound here, or if there is, do you know what it is?
Yeah, well, I'd say out of who's popular right now, I mean, who's got a lot of views, who's got a lot of fans, a lot of listeners, the sound would be a lot more organic. It's a very organic sound. I mean, I would say what comes to mind, obviously Macklemore. Saul's really getting on right now. Again, Raz is really getting on right now. Sam LaChow's been doing his thing too. He's a super talented guy. But yeah, I think a lot of the popular tracks from all of those guys have a real organic sound. Thrift Shop, that's not a traditional or a stereotypical rap beat. Right. Raz is very, his voice is booming, but it's real low and organic sounding, and I would say a real organic sound. I'm just kind of ranting. Yes, organic.
Yeah. That makes sense. So totally. When you're in the studio and the guys are making beats, do you ever pull in live instruments, or is it?
I have on one song. There's a song called Feelings, and that will probably come out as one of the singles before the album does. And this really, really talented singer, she's a folk singer. Her name is Abby Gunderson. I brought her into the studio, and she sang the chorus on it. But I sent her the beat first, and then she came and recorded it, and then she pulled out her MacBook, and she's like, "Hey, I recorded some instruments too, just for fun. Want to hear what it sounds like?" I'm like, "Shit, yeah, play that," And then she played the track. And I'm like, yes, we're booking a session, and very shortly she played violin, she played cello on it, and it sounded great. But other than that, I haven't brought in too much live instrumentation. I just don't really know the people, I guess.
Right.
But I would definitely do it more, just because, it's cool to get more people involved, It's not always fun to get a beat emailed to me, go to the studio and record it, and listen to it myself for a year until it comes out.
Right.
It's cool when there's more people around you excited, and then it gets you to push it out sooner, because there's more people on your ass about it. You're not procrastinating as much.
Yeah. When you're doing live shows, is it all pre-recorded beats, or have you ever had any live instruments there with you?
I have never had live instruments. I haven't really done a whole lot of shows. I've done, maybe, like 5 or 10 in the past, year and a half. So, doing live shows is something that's very new to me. And so that's why I still, get pretty nervous when I do it. Because oh, man. And then, again, once I get up there, I have a lot of fun. But, yeah, it's something that I would definitely do. One thing I don't like, though, is when people bring live instruments up and then the drums are just bang. They mic the drums. That shit pisses me off because, rap is hard enough to hear live, I feel like, unless the sound man is putting on for you. But, yeah, I don't like when the live drums are on hella loud and you can't hear anything. So, future reference, I will not be micing the drums if I bring a drummer.
Yeah, that's a good call. And lately, I think live hip hop has gotten way better, but 10 years ago it was hard, man. And so many of my favorite groups I've seen live, and just I've seen Wu-Tang a bunch of times live, and they're not a live group.
I can imagine. I've never seen Wu-Tang live, but I can imagine that.
It's just a bunch of guys on stage, just cuffing the mic, so they're all distorted, just yelling. They do half a song, and then they walk off stage, and it's just fuck, man. I'd just rather sit alone and listen to 36 Chambers by myself.
Gotta go drink some coffee and listen to the record.
Yeah,
I've heard the ASAP Mob is kind of like that too, because their crew is so deep. They got so many people on stage, and so they kind of do the same thing. I hear the shows are live as fuck, but it's hard to hear them. But there's a lot of jumping, stage diving, and shit. I haven't got the chance to see them live yet, but I'm gonna go see Schoolboy Q on Monday. Are you gonna be there?
I didn't know. I barely know who this guy is.
Oh man,
he's right now. I've realized that I get almost all my hip hop information is being Facebook friends with Speculation. Whenever he posts something, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, Schoolboy Q, he's kind of like a gangster rap, not too much on the gangster, but just enough, with TDE. So he's kind of like on Kendrick's little camp. But yeah, he's dope, man. He's gonna be performing at, I think, Numos. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, take some pointers from him. That guy's live. He's super good.
Do you have, right now you don't have anything scheduled? You just know that there's going to be some shows in the future?
They're kind of scheduled, but it's happened so much, whether I'm supposed to do a track with this person or there's a show certainly going to be on this date, and then 2 weeks before, some shit happens, so-and-so can't show up, and then I look like a dickhead.
Right.
Oh, this guy's trying to be a rapper, and the show's not happening. What do you know? Yeah. I don't want to be that guy, so I think that I'm going to do the shows very short notice, probably like a week and a half, because you can't cancel a week before. I'm sure you owe the venue money or something. I don't know all the logistics, but yeah, it's happened a lot where I tell people about something that's going on, and then it falls through, and I look like an asshole. So, but yes, there are shows getting planned. Dates are kind of getting locked in, but I don't want to give those dates for that reason. So if somebody just wants to keep up, what's the best? To just follow you on Twitter? Would that be the best? I don't know, man. I'm still, new to connecting with people the best way. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter daily. Every time you hit me up, it pops up on my phone. So that's the best way to reach me, best way to contact me. And YouTube. Right now, I just have my name, RyanCaraveo.com, linked to my YouTube videos. So it's probably the best way to get a hold of me. I'm working on a website right now, trying to figure out the best way to design it. There's a lot of easy stuff out there that you can design yourself, which is really cool. But yeah, right now social media is the best way. Yeah. There's also a lot of Ryan Caraveos that have stuff on YouTube who are not you that I came across. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a couple of football players down in California. A lot of my family lives down in like Bakersfield, Delano. Redlands, California. So a lot of Caraveos are down there. I see like wrestling stats. Like people are gonna think I'm like a wrestler. I should do that. Make a wrestling trip, wear a leotard in the video.
Dude, that's what Billy the Fridge, half rapper, half wrestler.
Hey, that sounds like a collabo right there.
Yeah. Cool. This has been a lot of fun. I'm expecting some big things. I think this album is going to be huge. And I like the way you're putting it out. So I'm really looking forward to it. And
yeah, me too, man. I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I'm excited. Super excited.
Yeah. So that Schlager song, I just heard it. I was like, this kid's got something. This kid goes somewhere.
Yeah.
And then that's when I found this Infinite song, which I'll play in a minute. Which just it just shows that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're a lyricist. Cool. So yeah, just follow him on Twitter to get all the info on his new albums, and I'll put that information in the comments. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything.
Caraveo. There you go. Caraveo. The pronunciation is important. It gets butchered quite a bit.
Cool. Yeah, I think I hit everything up. Anything else you want to say?
Once again, the album Swings is coming out this summer. I don't know if it's June, July, or August. The procrastination side of me wants it to come out in July or August. My brain wants me to come out in June, so in between there. But yeah, follow me on Twitter or Facebook. Let's be friends. Talk to me. I'll talk back. And yeah, the album's coming out this summer.
And is this independent, or do you have like a label backing you?
All independent. I wish there was a label backing me. That'd be dope.
Yeah. Is it gonna be like all like on Bandcamp or something, or are you gonna press like actual CDs?
There will be actual CDs pressed. I don't know exactly. I'm really close to determining how I'm gonna put it out. I don't know if I'm gonna just put it on like my website. I don't want people to pay a whole bunch of money for it. I want people to get a chance to listen to it, people to listen to check it out. So I might do like a free and a paid thing, and if you fuck with it, you can buy it. Otherwise, you can download it for free and make fun of it.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, this is Infinite right here.
I used to be inspired by the stars, respect them for the real, now they celebrate the flaws. I mean, I used to have the pictures pasted to my walls, but these days, they ain't no inspiration at all. It's like they hate to evolve, went from an ape to a frog, went from a great to a fraud, and put no faith in the God. Rap changed and they act like they ain't been involved. They forgot about they word and they name and they balls, but that's what it takes to amaze the sheep. It doesn't matter who wrote it and fuck who made the beats. Rest in peace to the rappers that they laid to sleep. They turned rap to religion and they paid the priest. I never prayed for peace that would force the change. Found change in myself, I'm the source to blame, cause they adore the game, so they want the Porsche to chain. They teach kids treat love and intercourse the same, but check it, that's not the way I'm gonna raise my little man. Shooting for the moon and praying it'll land. It's all gonna work long as you making a plan. If they saying you won't, son, then I'm saying you can. Just don't be lazy, convince me, don't persuade me. Get ready for this world, son, cause it'll drive you crazy. 92, baby, Seattle raised me. Ain't shit changed, we still on the same steez. Never been a fan of all that fake shit fame brings. Promise I'ma stay me, fuck what the game needs. I don't plan on falling back, I don't need a pawn of that. If they don't wanna listen to me, I can go move on from rap. Told mama make her proud, so I gotta honor that. That's why I get them jaws dropping every time I'm on a track. And that's the art of rap. Tell me how hard is that? So when I'm spitting, man, you hear it where my heart is at. But thinking farther back, when I was barely sane, my father cheated and cheated, I did the very same. I prayed for forgiveness, although it rarely came. That's when I learned to bury pain with the Mary Jane. That's when I learned to run, that's when I learned to hide. That's when I learned to smile, even when it hurt inside. And when you can't change shit, that'll hurt your pride. Like watching everything you fucking love burn alive. I wouldn't change it though, I don't regret a thing. Cause if it happened in my life, then it was meant for me. That means I'm strong enough to deal with it mentally. Just give it time and that'll heal it eventually. But now it's different, cause now I'm living it. Now when shit hits me, it's a little more intimate. Just trying to see it happen how I envisioned it before the day I die, but for now I'm infinite.